some other land, not too far off, where the listeners are not mistaken into passive observers and mere voyeurs, drawn into the tale with its rhythm of awaiting creation. And there will be the poet, storyteller, who will stand in the center of their tradition, community chronicler, seer, diviner, rainmaker, and collective conscience. And there will be old people sharing life and proverbs. And there will be young people, restless, attentive, their faces alight. And in some other tongue, the poet, who knows, is it Xhosa, Setswana, Yoruba, Afrikaans, Shona, or maybe even English. They will begin. In those days, when the eyes were on the knees and the head was on the waist. And together they will journey, or they will remember. And the African universe will be opened up to them in wondrous ways. Or it may be some other moment, some other space just like this. And they will gather across and around, listening. Tell us a story, they'll say. Tell us a story they'll want to hear, they'll want to know, they'll edge closer, desiring a show to forget, to fly on the wings of her imagination, to seek better worlds, to rewrite inherited histories with their words, a chance to see themselves anew, to recapture lost hope. Tell us a story. Tell us a story. They'll plead. And she will smile, open her arms, and begin her tale. Good evening, Stellenbosch. Hello. My name is Mbali Vilakazi, and it's an absolute honor and a pleasure to be with you tonight, simply because it is my first time having a conversation or being in conversation with Stellenbosch. I'm terribly excited and I'm loving the venue. Really happy to be here, and also as a young poet to share the space with some incredible names and faces. So it is a big moment for me. It's a significant moment, and I thank you all for joining us tonight and sharing that with us. So I'm really happy to be here. And I'm hoping to have an incredible time, which I'm already having. That's just a piece that contextualizes and anchors what we do. Because I think that a lot of the time it's either poets are deathly boring, well, these are the perceptions, or that we are merely here to spin rhymes and just do what we do and look good and go home. But I think that particularly as a young South African, and perhaps just as a young person in a global society coming from Africa, coming from South Africa, there's a meeting of worlds that happens with us as we find ourselves in these spaces. So I am a poet, but I also come from a tradition of storytellers. So this is the meeting of the page, meeting the fireplace, meeting the stories that were never recorded, that were never written down, and it's those two traditions and cultures coming together in us, in what we do. And so I'm going to do my poem, eventually. This piece is entitled Amicable / Unavailable, open bracket, for the faint of heart, close bracket. I've learned, as I've been traveling and finding my voice and finding my way and trying to be comfortable in the space of talking to people and having conversations that I'm afraid to have in my personal space, afraid to have with family. It's been really challenging and interesting. But from going to feeling you need to be issue-based and then you're not relevant, you're not significant, to realizing that there is a great power in the individual story. And there's a writer for me, a writer, a feminist poet from America who passed away. Her name's Audre Lorde. And Audre Lorde really pushes the idea that the personal is political. So this particular piece, I've chosen it because I could have had a conversation with you about women, about men, about gender, about dynamics, about our relationships, about the way we treat each other. And I could have had it from a completely different angle, but I've chosen to have it from a very intimate space, and I've chosen to have it from my bedroom. Because I think that we'd be surprised. The things that speak to us, that enlighten us, are the very ordinary, simple things that we each experience together. I'm too faint-hearted for reluctance rising. For the way you will say just enough and say no more today. The pleasantries in your exit strategy. Too faint-hearted for the beautiful nuances of a morning that will go unnoticed. The curtain of your experience desperately drawn against it, and there will be no light of day. And I will learn that the rules of the game dictate that nothing is to be shared. So, no. Hey. How are you? Are you okay? So anyway, I've been really meaning to ask someone, so how does this whole all share index thing work? I'm too faint-hearted for that. I'm too faint-hearted for how I wish I didn't. When I did, I did. Open, petal upon petal towards your sun. But it is the feeling of having caught summer too late, stumbling into the autumn of your coming winter, immediate and consuming and confusing me. Too faint-hearted. You don't give anything off, and I'm not exactly sure what I should be saying or can say. What can I say? Watching you tread carefully around the silences, picking your clothes up off the floor. I'm too faint-hearted for the way I'll wish I want you to stay. I have been told that it will inevitably chase you away. Out the door, down the street, past the unsuspecting stranger, around the corner, switching on your phone to check for messages, into your car, playing a breezy CD, and out of my life.
Woo! Out of my life, baby!
Will you turn back at all, do you think?
I won't. Never!
That's why this poem's not about you. Will you turn back at all, do you think? Just one last look behind you. Perhaps you will push, and so I will cling. Or I will cling, and so you push, but you are already trying to forget me.
True.
And so, I'll lay in my surrender, naked and raw and tender and pretending and bruised and defiant and afraid and trying not to get into the way of your retreating smile. beneath the covers, against the chill of regret that will begin to fill this place, the space where you once were. Against the suffocating, shouting anxiety and the thoughts that dash, break, bolt, run, start, dive, charge, scurry, scamper, scramble behind your eyes, your kind of goodbye. The waiting. One day, 3 days, next week, sometime, maybe. 5 years later. The calls that will go unanswered. The scent of your memory lingering where you are not. I'm too faint-hearted for the discovery. The morning after is always stronger than the night before.